Come on, Doug, you can dance with me. I give you permission. It's new intro, Brad. You haven't heard this one before.
That's true.
Welcome to the Creativity Show. Alive hour, let it flow. Unscripted words in a velvet ring. Savvy minds on the line they bring. Producer and host in the glow. akaRadioRed, let's go. Tell me what it is that sparks your fire. What keeps you moving higher and higher? The Creativity
There we go. New opening. I love that. I'm a girl from the disco era. No comments, please. Doug, I think you danced a little bit. Brad, I saw those shoulders. Maria, let's go on the dance floor, for goodness sake. I'm Radio Red, aka this is the Creativity Spark Show. I have to tell the singer to add the word spark in Maria. She's not caught up with the latest. I change the name of the show every week. I am here with three very interesting creatives. I have to do a shout out to the resource who provided these wonderful people with me. They're all authors. And we're going to do a shout out hello to Mickey Mickelson at Creative Edge PR somewhere in Canada. I hope he's listening and watching. And Mickey, thank you for sending me such talented and interesting creatives. So I want to do my opening. And by the way, it is July 6th. We've all gotten through. Is anybody from in Canada here? Maria, are you in Canada or are you, Brad and Doug? Maria, where are you? Colorado.
In Denver, Colorado.
Denver.
Yep.
Okay. So, Brad, are you aware of July 4th down here?
I've heard of it, yeah. It's like whenever you look south on July the 4th, the whole nighttime sky is
Lights
all
up,
colors.
just
Like, what's
sparkles.
going on
I know.
down there?
Doug, you've heard of July 4th, right?
Yeah, it's after our July 1st.
Yeah, it's in there somewhere. It's in there somewhere.
It's in the mix.
Anyway, yes,
Eh?
it was a big one this year. Okay, so it's July 6th, and it is something like there are 179 days left to this year. It's the 187th day of the 2026 Gregorian calendar, and I have to tell you, this is for you, Maria. We used to have the Julian calendar, and I'm a Libra, first week of October. I don't know when you were born. You don't even have to tell me, but there was a problem with the Julian calendar because, the hiccup when the moon changed and the tides and all that, and he skipped the first couple of days of October every couple of years. And if I'd have been alive then, I might have had to skip the cake and the party. And Brad, I wouldn't have gotten any presents. So
Yep.
I know. So our good friend, what's his name, Gregorian, came along and he said, Mom, I'm going to be a pope, but I'm going to change the calendar too. And he said, I'm going to make it a leap year every fourth year and add one day. And that way all the birthday kids in October get their birthdays back. Doug, isn't that exciting? I know you were waiting for that factoid. It's just going to make your day, Doug Lawrence. I can tell. Okay, I'm ready to open. And here I have a gift for each of you. But when I call your name, I want you to wave hello. So here we go. Welcome to the Creativity Spark Show, where real life stories alight, with akaRadioRed on her Scarlett Mic streaming live and feeling bright. The languages of creativity. Maria, I have to pick a different name each week, and that's in honor of your story, are in our spotlight today, where resilience and reinvention light the way. Maria Gallucci, wave hello. Brad C. Anderson, wave hello. And Doug Lawrence, join the stage. Their creative journeys and fresh perspectives turning the page. Stay tuned and hear how creativity has sparked their climb as passion and purpose power them over time. So let me start with my first gift to you, Maria. I hope you like this. Raised in a family where American Sign Language came first each day, Maria bridged the deaf and hearing worlds in her own remarkable way. Responsibility and resilience grew throughout her childhood span. Learning empathy and understanding are the foundation of her life's plan. Later, as a mom, determined to build a future strong and bright, Maria found her purpose, helping families buy real estate right. Founding ASL Realty, she connects deaf and hard-of-hearing clients nationwide with agents fluent in ASL, serving with knowledge, trust, and pride. Inspired by her deaf parents, she wrote the Raised in Silence story, True, showing inclusion and human connection shape a positive view. Maria exemplifies how creativity begins when we simply try, combining languages to communicate so our understanding can multiply. Maria, I hope you enjoyed that.
I love that. That was so beautiful and it's right on point.
There you go. That's why I asked for the origin story. And you know what? Let me see who I want to do second here. I'm looking through my notes here, and I think I'm going to do Doug second. So even though I did, Brad's name came first. So Doug Lawrence, raised on a Canadian farm where hard work shaped each day, Doug learned responsibility in a practical and lasting way. An English teacher sparked his love of words and writing's art, launching the school's first newspaper and dreams that filled Doug's heart. Doug once imagined life behind a radio microphone someday, yet a career of public service led him on a different way. Leadership and mentoring became the purpose he pursued, helping others grow through wisdom, compassion, and gratitude. Author of The Gift of Mentoring You Are Not Alone and Grief, the Silent Pandemic Too, his books reflect the caring heart in all Doug strives to do. He earned the Elite Journey Mentor certification, one of a remarkable few, showing creativity flourishes when we help others break through. Doug, I hope you like that.
I loved it. That was fabulous.
I'm glad. I'm glad. And Brad, here we go. Brad, you were on my Cool Dude show about a year ago, almost exactly a year ago, and I had a 99-line opening for you. So we crunched it down to 12. So let's see if we picked the right ones. Okay, so here we go. Raised beneath Calgary's wide blue skies with curiosity from the start, Brad discovered science and stories could both capture the heart. Drama helped this quiet student find his confident voice, while Dungeons and Dragons sparked imagination and his creative choice. Biochemistry, business, and teaching shaped the path he would wisely choose, finding opportunity in every challenge with little time to lose. Today, Brad inspires future entrepreneurs while writing science fiction too, blending scholarship with storytelling in everything he loves to do. From triumvirate to Ashme's song, his imagination soars in flight, exploring leadership, humanity, and futures bold and bright. Brad knows creativity grows where knowledge and wonder combine, where science fuels the mind and passionate stories shine. Brad, I hope you like that.
Nice, very nice. That sounds about right. That's I put that on my resume.
You
Yeah, can
know,
write my
you know
resume
who
for
I'm
me?
talking. You know who I'm talking about, right? So let me close this, and the show's over. And I read the openings, and that's it. So gather around where the cool kids and the cool vibes sway. You've already done your swaying with me as we dive deep into creativity today. akaRadioRed's energy lights the way. We hope to inspire you to live large, love life, and play. I hope so. How'd I do? What'd you think, kids? Okay? Good? Thank you
Very
very
That's
good.
awesome.
Thank you
Nice.
very much. I have a collaborator. Her name is Sylvie, and I'll tell you more about her after the show. And she's the one I speak to in French, Doug. We have
Okay, got it.
conversations in French. So, I've always enjoyed. I watch a lot of French detective shows, by the way, French language shows with the subtitles on because I'm not as fluent as I used to be. But anyway, it's just a lot of fun. And you can't be doing a crossword puzzle while you're doing that or you'll miss the next. I know, I'm always going back. I fall asleep a lot. Okay, so what I'd like to do now is let's find out a little bit about your books. So, Maria, beautiful Maria, I'm putting you on full screen so everybody can see you. Take about 3 minutes. Hold up whatever I know you have the one book you want to show us. Why don't you tell us a little about when you wrote it, why you wrote it, and what the story is. Go ahead, Maria, and officially welcome.
So here's my book. It's called Raised in Silence. And I was raised in Colorado from my deaf parents. So I'm a child of deaf adults, which is a coda. And so ASL, which is sign language, was my first language. So growing up, I spent childhood bridging the gaps between the deaf and hard of hearing community and the hearing world. And so I was interpreting from phone calls to medical appointments to mortgage loans and to closing since I was a child. And so I was also a teen mom. And so I needed to find like a career quickly. And then I remember like helping my parents like interpret at 12 years old. And so that's what that went right into real estate from there. And so I wrote the book to make awareness and to have people feel like just because everyone's different in their own way. And so for me, I just wanted to make sure everybody felt like they had a safe place to be, and to make sure that they felt belong, because just because you're different doesn't mean that you need to be rejected or an outcast. So for me, the book is just helping people learn how to be more inclusive to every community, not just the deaf and hard of hearing.
Thank you very much. Where are you marketing the book? On Amazon, I assume? Where else can people find it?
It is on all book platforms, and I'm Amazon's bestseller. And so I have raisedinsilence.com, which can give you the Barnes and Noble and all the other links for it.
Good. Thank you very much. Well done. I measured my words on that. Well done. The world needed that book, needed your
Thank you.
story. And thank you for your message of kindness. That's what I hear. Message of kindness. What the world needs now is Maria's message of kindness. Doug Lawrence, I'm putting you on speaker view. We would like to know a little bit about your book. I know you have it there. That you're doing the grief book. That's it right there. And we're not going to get too sad. You don't want to make me cry, because my makeup will run. So you got to be careful with the host.
I'll do my best.
I know you will, dear. I'm putting you on speaker view now. Officially welcome. And let's hear a couple minutes about your book. Go ahead.
So, Grief the Silent Pandemic, I wrote that as a result of seeing lots of people that were dealing with family members that had cancer, and were going through a grieving process, but really had no idea of how they were going to get there. And so, Grief the Silent Pandemic, which I might also add, is the recipient of 5 Global Book Awards. And the gist of the book, for the most part, is what I do is I provide a bit of a background on the different phases and that of the grieving process, and then I move us forward to a place where we can work together, we can walk together. And sort of the story goes that you don't need to be afraid, that step out of the closet and reach out and ask for help, and there will be help there to help you.
I like that.
And I guess to sort of sum all that up, the book is available on Amazon, as well as on some of the smaller platforms as well.
Thank you, Doug. And I wanted to ask you, you also have won awards for your mentoring. Is there a book on mentoring as well you've authored?
The gift of mentoring, I was not so fortunate. Actually, I didn't know about the awards at that time. The second book, You Are Not Alone, has more stuff on mentoring itself, and that was an Amazon bestseller.
Very nice. Very nice. Very, very important. I've had some mentors in some of the big companies I worked for, and it was an interesting process of how often you would meet and what their role was, and whether it was a quid pro quo, you did something, they did something, or whether you were given assignments. And I found it very interesting. And I've mentored a few people along their careers, mostly in public speaking. Surprise, surprise. There was a young woman who worked at a very big, I worked for one of the world's biggest business software companies. And somebody came to me, Doug, you okay? Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine.
And somebody came to me and said she was about to give her first big onstage speech at a conference. And I said, Maria, you're going to love this. The first thing I said was, don't wear new shoes.
Uh-oh.
Because your feet are you're going to get blisters. You're going to feel terrible. And I said, no jewelry that's going to swing around or clunky or make noise in the microphone. And then I talked about finding one person in the audience to focus on in case you were nervous. And she went on to a lot of speaking engagements and started a consulting business. And she still says nice things about me. So sometimes it's the little things, right, Doug? You got to go
That's
to
right.
where the appropriate, the time and the place, and what the appropriate thing is. Never wear brand new shoes when you're in front of an audience, because you will regret it. Okay, let's go to Brad. Brad, how many times have you been on my shows? 2,
I
3,
don't know.
4,
I've
5,
been here.
10?
I've been here a few times.
I am so happy to have you back.
I'm glad you keep having me. I'm like, oh, I wish I had new jokes. I don't know.
That's my other. I'm starting a comedy show. We'll refresh your jokes. Brad C. Anderson, and I made you let me put the C back in because I don't know who
Yes,
Brad Anderson is, so it's
yes.
Brad C.
Otherwise people will be like, yeah.
Identification is very important. I'm putting you on speaker view. Why don't you hold up? How many books do you have now? 150? What? How
I
many?
have a couple. So these are my sci-fi books. Just a second there.
That's
There's
it.
one.
Hold it closer. Pronounce the name. That's it.
Oh, so
Pronounce
that's called Duotero.
Duotero.
I have this one is Ashmi Song. This is my most recent one.
Tell me about that one.
Guess I have some nonfiction, but that's not fun. Anyway, Ashmi Song. So yeah, this is my most recent one. So Ashmi, so it's a science fiction. It's a science fiction, action-y kind of cyberpunk novel, if you're into those types of things. Ashmi is this young woman. Her society that she's living in is sort of unstable and is starting to devolve into civil war. And she's like young and orphaned, and she wants to be a meaningful member of the movement that's trying to overthrow the people that are kind of oppressing her people. But she's torn because she has a special needs brother, and she's really the only one left to look after him. And so she wants to sort of help fight for her people, but she also needs to look after her brother, and she's kind of torn between these two tensions, family or people. And the birth of that story. So I write very slowly. I don't. Yeah, there you go. I write very slowly. So the birth of the story, it really started around the 2015 mark during the Syrian refugee crisis. And during the Syrian refugee crisis, there's all these news articles, videos of refugees flowing across borders. And there are certain I guess news pundits of certain political persuasions that were like, look at all these young men coming into our country. They should be staying in Syria and fighting for their country. And it kind of got me thinking, like, what is the heroic thing to do? Like, if your society's falling apart and civil war is breaking out, is it heroic to fight for your country, or is it any less heroic to like get your family up and just get the heck out of there? Like, on one hand, you do need people to fight for what you believe is right, but on the other hand, if you got a family, you also need to keep them safe. And so that tension, I don't know, that experience, out of that experience, the character of Ashmi and her brother Shen was born. And yeah, so
And
like 8 years later, I finally finished the book, and there it
there,
is.
I'm still working on my novel, dear.
Yeah.
It's been only 3.5 years, so I'm trying to catch up to your 8. What did you tell us about Duotero a little bit, please,
Yeah,
too?
sure thing. So Duotero is another, it's a standalone science fiction novel. Duotero is the name of the planet, it means second Earth. And just the history of the planet is it was a colony of Earth, and just mysteriously several centuries ago, it just lost contact with Earth. Nobody really understands why. And so they're kind of abandoned, and the colony survives, but it wasn't really super self-sufficient, and it's kind of limped along. And at any rate, something has happened in the world, or something has happened with sort of the native flora and fauna. And at any rate, this colony is starting to collapse. And the Duotero follows this sort of group of people whose job it is to protect the colony. And so they're like, you're like trying to protect the colony, but things are starting to collapse, and they don't understand why. The ability, the scientific, technical ability that, the society may have once had has sort of atrophied. So they're kind of left with this, sort of belief system. They have this belief system, but that's not really sufficient to stem the tide. And it's sort of explores how do people handle the unknown? How do people handle uncertainty when the stakes are high? So yeah, that's
Thank
there you
you.
go.
Have you sold the movie rights yet?
No, hey,
I want
anybody,
to see that. Doug is waiting to see that on a marquee near him. Do a
yeah,
tear.
do
We're
it,
gonna
Tara.
go. We're gonna make a movie viewing party.
I'll
Okay.
buy the popcorn if I can sell the movie rights. I can afford popcorn. So
I
on
think it
me.
needs to be in a movie. Thank you for sharing what your books are about. I appreciate that. Let's go to the part of the show where I've asked each of you to please send me a fictional quote from a movie or TV character or a song lyric, and you're going to briefly tell me what this has to do with your own creativity. Okay, you're all on camera right now, just so you know. So, Maria, am I using the middle initial R, or are we just going to be Maria? Who do you want to be?
I'll be Maria.
Just Maria. Okay, you want to tell us what the R stands for?
Rose. Yeah, that's my middle name.
Both of my grandmothers were Rose.
Oh,
And
I
I
love
have
that.
other relatives named Rose as well. I just gasped.
And you're wearing a rose, it
I
looks like.
I
am. I
know.
am.
That's why I love
I
that.
was
Rose is from
telling
my
her I
favorite.
have about eight. I had a pink one, a lavender one, a green one, which won't show up with the green screen, a white one, a yellow one, and I have a whole collection of them. You buy them and use different colors. But I'm glad you all like it. So let's go to Maria's quote. And Maria's picked a quote from Rafiki, voiced by Robert Guillaume. The movie, of course, is Disney's The Lion King, 1994 classic coming of age story film. Rafiki is the wise old mandrill, and Robert Guillaume brought the shamanistic character to life with his distinctive voice, and he had different accents, Maria, including a Jamaican one, to create the unique sound for Rafiki. The story follows Simba, a young lion prince exiled from his kingdom after his father Mufasa was murdered by his uncle Scar, who plans to seize the throne. Simba must decide whether to return home to confront the uncle and reclaim his own place as king. So here is the quote. And I have to tell you, Maria, this is so popular that I get this on probably 5 or 6 shows a year from different guests. And I love it. It's become a very, very popular quote. Here we go. Oh, yes, the past can hurt. But the way I see it, you can either run from it or learn from it. What a beautiful quote. If it weren't so long, Brad, I'd crochet it on the side of a pillow, but that's a lot of thread. Okay, Maria, I'm putting you back on speaker view. Would you please tell us what this has to do with your own creativity? Go ahead.
So I love that quote because it reminds me that our past doesn't define us. And so growing up as a hearing daughter of deaf parents came with a lot of responsibilities at a very young age. And then so instead of running from those experiences, I learned from them. And then they shaped who I am today. And then it inspired me to write the book Raised in Silence because it gave me the passion for helping people communicate, connect, and feel understood.
Okay. And are you a fan of The Lion King?
I love The Lion King. That was one of my favorite cartoons.
Did you see the Broadway play? I did. I saw it in
I
New
have
York.
not. I
I
would
was
love
living
to.
in New York at the time. It was amazing. They
Oh,
come in
I
through the
bet.
back of the theater, they go up on the stage, the masks, the costumes. It was beautiful. It was really, really beautiful. So I don't know if they're still doing it, but if they are, you gotta go see it. Okay, let's go to Doug. Let's see what you sent me for a quote. Doug sent the following. Here we are. I only have 25 pages of notes, kids. I want you to know that. Doug sent a quote from, oh, this is interesting, from Top Gun Maverick, the 2022. You remember sending me this, Doug? The action
Yes.
action drama film sequel to 1996 blockbuster Top Gun. It's spoken by Bradley Rooster Bradshaw, played by Miles Teller, to Pete Maverick Mitchell, played by, of course, Tom Cruise, who just had a birthday this week, I think. Jerry Bruckheimer was one of the producers. So was Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise stepped into his starring role. He reprised the role. Such a great cast. The story involves Maverick confronting his past while training a group of younger Top Gun elite aviator graduates, including the son of his deceased best friend, for a high-risk mission that demands teamwork, trust, and courage. 3 great words. Here's the quote. I didn't even know this quote was in the movie, Doug. I was surprised. Here we go. 4 little words. Don't think, just do. Okay, Doug, that's about as good as Yoda, there do or do not, there is no try. I think this is going to go up there with one of those iconic. So, Doug, tell us a little bit about how you picked this one.
Well, what's also interesting is I picked this, and lo and behold, the TV show, they had it on the TV just this past weekend. The whole thing, the whole Maverick story and all that. And I went, why is that ringing a bell? But in anyhow, don't think, just do fits into my experiences that I'm having with writing is far too much time procrastinating and not enough time doing. And if I want to move forward with a number of books, I don't need to think, I just need to do.
Do or do not, there is no try. That is one of my all-time favorites. So, would this be something you would tell your mentoring clients? Just
Yes.
do? Yeah.
Yeah.
Important. I was a programmer analyst back in the day of mainframe computers, Maria, that were as big as a warehouse, Xerox Sigma 6 CP5 and an IBM 4341 installation. And coding and 2,000 lines of code on a weekend and running on Monday morning. It was a lot of fun. It was creative. People say, "Oh, you need a lot of math to be a programmer." No, you didn't. You just needed to know how to take a blank piece of paper, put the code in, make it fit the syntax, get it running, and produce the report. That was it, and that was creative. But I have no idea why I was telling you this. I'll think about it later. I was just having so much fun telling the story. Okay, here we go. Let's go to Brad's quote. Brad has sent 2 quotes from different parts of a scene of Episode 5 of Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back. It's known by Star Wars Episode V, the Roman numeral, and just The Empire Strikes Back. 1980 space opera film. Brad, I'm still trying to figure out what a space opera is. Maybe you'll help me. The second film in the Star Wars trilogy. Let's see now. 1980, directed by Irvin Kershner, set 3 years after the events of Star Wars. It recounts the battle between the malevolent Galactic Empire led by the Emperor and the Rebel Alliance led by Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia, who is no longer with us. As the Empire goes on the offensive, Luke trains to master the Force so he can confront the Emperor's powerful disciple, Darth Vader. There we go. Okay, so here is the quote. The 2 parts are, first, Yoda says, and Yoda is voiced and puppeteered by Frank Oz, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, Jedi Master's Force spirit, played by Alec Guinness. So Yoda says, he is too old. I can't do this accent, Brad.
I was like, I'm expecting to hear the accent.
All right. He is too old. Yes, too old to begin the training. I don't know. And then Luke says, but I've learned so much. And Yoda says, will he finish what he begins? Earlier in the same scene, Yoda says, you are reckless. And Obi-Wan Kenobi says, so was I, if you'll remember. So the 2 phrases that Brad has picked are, he is too old. Yes, too old to begin the training. And Obi-Wan says, so was I, if you'll remember. So we're putting those together. Brad, forgive me, but I had so much fun looking these up. So tell us about this. Go ahead.
I don't know. Maybe I'm feeling old.
No, you're not. You're not allowed to. Not allowed.
Yeah. Honestly, I just the reason why I picked those ones is because I feel like I really hit my stride a little bit later in life, right? I didn't start writing my novels till I was in my late 30s, early 40s. I got my doctorate when I was in my 40s, still slugging away now. And like I know I have coworkers, they're like, oh, should I do this training? And they're like, man, I only have a couple of years left. I'm too old. And it's like, what do you mean? You're probably gonna live till you're like 90. Like, what are you gonna do for the next 40 years? Just sit around and wait to die? Like, no, it's like you're never too old. Keep learning, keep growing. I think a lot of it is, you sort of have this image of successful people, they hit their stride when they're young and, they change the world. But yeah, for me, I was a bit of a yucklehead when I was young. And I feel like
what?
a yucklehead. I don't know. Is that Canadian? Is that Canadian for numbskull?
Maria, is that Coloradoan? Doug says it's not Canadian. What do you think, Maria? You ever heard that word?
Made it up.
It's called like a knucklehead, right? Like a knuckles.
Yeah. It had a
like-
Canadian spin on it. Doug, do you know that word, Doug?
Yucklehead.
That's a different one for me.
One of the joys of being a science fiction writer is you just get to make up words, and there you go. So yucklehead. Yeah, so I was a yucklehead when I was, you know what I mean.
Of course I knew what you meant. I just wanted to
before.
give you a hard time. I want to go back with apologies. Doug, the reason I was telling you the story about the mainframe computers is do or do not, there is no try. When I was doing early programming and we were learning binary, it's either a 1 or a 0. Okay, so the light switch is either on or it's off. And then my joke is that unless you have a dimmer switch, but that's besides the point. So so do or do not. And that's why I think that's a mantra for life. Brad, that part about being old is, I think that's a thread that runs through my creativity.
You're never too old.
You are never too old. It's very interesting. My mom lived to 100 years, 1 month and 15 days, lived alone in her house, in her apartment, 5 minutes from me. And I would take her shopping and visit her. She played the piano. She played bridge. She played mahjong. She had her hair and nails done once a week. And I helped her with her shopping and sometimes paying the bills. And that was about it. And talk about a creative lifestyle. She figured it out. She was popular. She had friends. She went to lunches and dinners. She went to theater. And she was, and by the way, most of her lady friends who had all outlived their husbands, they lived around to about 100. Her bestie lived to 104, outlived mom. It was just,
Oh, wow.
I know, and my mom and I, and you'll get a kick out of this. I think she was 80, Brad, when I called her one day and I said, I'm starting a new TV show on Long Island. I was a producer and host, and I created 4 series over the years. And I said, I want to start a new show called Senior Moments, the Happy Ones. Do you want to be my co-host? And it took her about 30 seconds on the phone. She said, I'm in. And that was it. And we used to meet in the green room with our guests in the studio. And I tell everybody, Ruth is your new best friend because she would make friends with them. And she was 83 at the time she started with me on the TV show. And she'd make up a different funny name for herself. I'd introduce myself and I'd say, and you are. And I was at the host desk and she was sitting next to me and the guest was next to her. And she'd make up a funny name. Her name was Ruth Betty, Bette, like Betty Davis, the actress. And she'd say, my name is Ruth Bettina. Or she'd say, I'm Ruth Babushka or something. And she'd make up a name. And I never knew what she was going to say. If that wasn't creativity, from 83 to 100, we did, I think, 257 shows. Once a month at least. People knew her, Brad. People stopped me on the street. How's your mom? I said, who are you? They said, oh, you don't know me. I see your show. I had people watching it on the 1 o'clock late night show on public access TV. How's Ruth? How's she doing? I said, she's fine. Thank you. I'll give her your regards. So this was between 83 and 100. She co-hosted with me and she was just charming. Just
I'm into that.
That is adorable.
I'm hoping by 100 I can figure out how to be popular. I'm still,
I know.
oh man, I got a few more.
Brad, stick with me, kid. I'll get you there. I'll get you there. I'll make you a star. I'll make you a star. Okay, so thank you for the quotes. I appreciate that. Let's go now. We have plenty of time. We're actually ahead of time, which is interesting. So I can tell my little sidebar stories. Here we go. Maria, I'm starting with you with the creativity statements, and here's how this is going to work. It's going to be a real roundtable. So I've picked two of yours, actually 2.5 of your 4 statements, don't count. And I'm going to read them and I'm going to put the screen back on you, the camera back on you. And what I would like you to do is just unpack these, tell us a little bit more, take your time. And then I'm going to ask Doug to respond and Brad to respond and tell us if there's anything in what Maria shared that resonates with you in your creativity, Doug, and with yours, Brad. And then I'll pick a statement or two from Doug. I'll read it. He'll unpack it, and then we'll go around the table. So let's take our time with this. So Maria told me the following. She says, I feel most creative early in the morning with a cup of coffee or after meaningful conversations. I'm wondering who's up. Some of my best ideas, here's the kicker. Some of my best ideas come while driving or traveling when my mind has room to wander. And then she says, I create by typing on my computer, but I also use the Notes app and voice dictation on my phone whenever inspiration strikes before the ideas disappear. Okay, Maria. Why don't you unpack this for us? We want to know how your mind is wandering when you're driving. Traveling, I accept. Driving, we're wondering about. We want you to be safe. So why don't you go ahead? I'm putting you back on speaker, and then we will ask Doug and Brad to comment. Go ahead, Maria.
So I definitely am more creative in the morning when I have a cup of coffee, but I drive for a living because I'm a real estate agent. So for me, like before the day gets busy or anything, I can also get most of my best ideas from driving because I'm by myself, and so I just drive around, and that's something that I feel like that the road just leads my mind to wander, and it shows up with ideas that seem like good in my head.
Tell us about the dictation and the notes app. How do you use those?
So my book actually was 15 years in the making. So I updated my phone and I found all of my notes from like years and years and years ago. And so for me, I try to put everything in the notes app, and then or voice, because I feel like when things pop in your head, you have to either write them down or say them in an app. And because I had all of those notes, it helped me more write the book. And I feel like inspiration doesn't always happen when you're sitting at like a desk. I think if an idea comes in your head, or to me, I try to capture it before it's gone.
I have a quote from somebody famous in the music business. I will read a little bit later to you about that exactly. Doug, what do you think about writing early in the morning and taking notes? What's your process?
Actually, the one I'm going to jump on is the one where you talked about traveling, because I just finished a trip back to the homestead and to my parents' gravesite, and it's about a 3.5 hour trip one way. And believe it or not, I do a lot of thinking on that trip.
Isn't
Mhm.
that interesting? And how do you capture
I
your
agree.
your thoughts? Do you write them? Do you dictate them? Do you just make a mental note? Do you keep a sticky pad on the seat next to you? How do you do it?
What I did this particular time is I pull over and make my notes along. I pull over on the side of the road and make my notes, and then I continue driving for a while until I have another wave of creativity. And as soon as I have that, I know that if I don't pull over and capture it, it's gone.
Thank you. I have a comment. I'm going to wait for Brad to chime in. Brad, what do you think?
Maria had me at coffee, so that's all I heard. No, yeah, no, I suspect I probably would be more creative in the morning, but I know, like I'm still working, and so that tends to be when I work. So I tend to do my writing in the evening. I feel like probably any time except for the middle of the afternoon. Middle of the afternoon, I just want to take a nap. But yeah, I sus
You are
Siesta.
getting old. You are getting old.
yeah, I mean, is it nap time? Yeah.
I do too.
I'll just
Okay.
have some porridge. Yeah, no. I suspect I probably would be much more productive writing if I wrote in the morning, but I'm still working, so balance and trying to keep all the balls in the air, all that kind
Tell
of
me
stuff.
about it.
So yeah, that's where the coffee
Okay.
comes in.
Okay. I have to tell you, I do this show 50 times a year with 3 people every week. Okay. I have never heard anybody say that they are inspired while traveling or while driving. I have never heard anybody say, Doug, that they will pull over and take notes and then get back on the road. Never. These are firsts for me. Brad, I love you dearly, but
Everybody's in a coffee.
they just got some I don't know how. I've never heard that. I've just simply never heard anybody say exactly what you said, Maria, and what Doug followed up with. That's why it's called the Creativity Spark Show, because these are the sparks that might give somebody else. This is not a webinar. We're not telling everybody, okay, take notes. This is what she did. This is what, but it's the idea that what are the sparks? What are the muses? What are the inspirations? What are the thoughts that pop into your head? When and where and how? And what do you do with them? That's to me the magic of creativity. And it could be for a book, it could be for a recipe, it could be for a song, it could be for what you're going to wear to a party next week. I don't know. It could be anything, but we're creating who we are and what we do. That to me that's why I do this show. So thank you both of you. That was really something. I do remember all that stuff. That was a new one. Okay, before I get all carried away here, Doug, I'm looking at your statements here and let's see what I picked out for you. This is interesting. Okay. Doug says, I do a lot of journaling and then I transfer onto my laptop. I would like to eventually use AI for some of this. You're going to talk about that with me, Doug, please. And then he says, I document everything, although I do get concerned I might lose things. My first priority is typing on the keyboard, and secondary to that would be writing and keeping. So, Doug, talk to us about the journaling. I want to know what do your journals look like? Are they notebooks? Are they notepads? Or is it digital? Is it paper? Tell me, what is your journaling?
The journaling is typically done in a notebook, a black notebook, and that. And I think that where that came from is when I was still in the police force, we used to document all kinds of things. Somebody did a crime or whatever, you documented how they did it and all that sort of stuff. So I've just carried forward with that particular approach, and then transfer what I deem to be appropriate and relevant. I transfer that to my laptop. So at the end of the day, I end up with 2 versions. Uh, that way there I can make sure I don't lose either one, hopefully, touch wood.
Very, very interesting. What do you do with the journals? Do you keep them in binders and folders? Do you have a shelf of them? How many are there? Are there hundreds? Are there dozens? Talk to me.
Yeah, there's lots. There's lots. In fact, we when I moved from where I was to where I'm living now, I actually did a purge and got rid of a lot of them, ripped the guts out of the journal and tore it up into small, just easily shredded pieces of paper, because some of that was evidence that I had captured what had taken place and what the evidence was and all that. And so I needed to get rid of that, because that obviously I can't have that being kept alone. So I did that part. So for me, it is all about the journal and in essence, two versions of it.
Very, very interesting. Brad, journaling.
I also do journaling. I only have one version of I live dangerously. I just have one version of it.
I like the way you said that.
Um,
What does it
but
look
I
like? Is it a notebook? Is it big? Is it small? What do you?
Yeah, it's a notebook. It's this is not where I have my story ideas, but it's a little something like this. I
Okay.
like the writing by yeah, for me I like the capturing it by hand. I don't know why. And it's just for me like it's usually story ideas or character ideas or setting ideas or something like just like, oh, this would make a cool something something, or this would be a cool character. Like with that Ashme song, like I had those characters sort of scribbled in that notebook, like, years before, and then the story idea comes in like these characters would be great for it. So yeah, it's just kind of a hodgepodge of like, yeah, character setting, story ideas, themes, whatever. Just kind of collect them there. And then whenever I'm finished writing something and I'm ready to do something new, I'll just like have a look through and like, oh, that's kind of cool. This one's calling to me. Then yeah, there we go. That'll be the next story that I work on.
Very nice. Thank you. Maria, what about you? You do journaling?
Um, I don't, because I have really bad handwriting. So my question is to Doug and Brad, do you both have good handwriting?
Nope. No. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I journal
It's
it and then it's gone. I'm like, what the heck?
Sometimes I know,
Doug, what
sometimes I
about
can't even
you?
read my own handwriting.
it's gotten better over I actually looked at some of my writing here the other day and I went, who did that?
It was a gremlin who stunk in my office. You mentioned, Doug, that you want to use AI to help with this. What's your thought on that?
There's a lot personally, and I'm not into AI deep enough yet that I would totally understand what its capacity or capability is. But the little bit that I do know, I see it as being a tool that I could use to enhance my note taking.
Okay. Any particular app you're aware of? Anything that you would want to, that you know of, or are you going to investigate? I do a show called Technology Revolution, The Future of Now, and we do, Brad knows that, and we do a different creative genre or a different industry, global trend, or business niche every week, plus AI. And we talk about the opportunities, the benefits, the possibilities of AI to add value as a supporting tool to whatever the industry, even with writers, not to do the writing, but to help with the infrastructure, if you will.
Mhm.
So I was intrigued when you said that. Yes. Okay. Very, very interesting. Okay. Um, Brad, are you using AI in any way? Only we'll
I
only do positive. So if it's you're
Yeah.
bashing and trashing, not here. But go ahead. Maria's
Uh,
on guard. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I do use it. I use it as a research assistant. I found like so I've fiddled and played with AI. I use it as a bit of a research assistant. I found I've not been happy with its plotting. Like sometimes I'll
Okay.
be like, oh, how do I get from A to B? And I'll come up with a plot, and I'll be like, that's kind of a little. It's,
Okay.
it's like really on the nose. It's not creative. Like I don't know. So I haven't been impressed with its plotting. Um, yeah, so I don't really use it for that, but I do use it as a research tool, as a research assistant. The story that I'm
Yeah.
writing now takes place in a desert, and so like traveling, like I've created this little engine. So like when people are traveling over the desert, like how much water do you need, and how many pack animals do you need, and blah blah blah, and so it kind of it'll kind of calculates like I got four people traveling across the desert for seven weeks. What kind of pack animal or like how many pack animals would they have? Like it'll kind of do that kind of stuff for me.
Hmm.
So a little bit of automated researchy
Okay.
types of things, and you can
That
automate.
works. That works sometimes. Okay. Maria, are you using AI for anything? Background help?
Not too much. Sometimes to create like market trends or whatever, but my son always tells me that it takes up so much water to ask one question. So I'm
Okay,
like,
well
I
that's
can't,
the environmental side, but we're
I
just
know
talking about.
exactly. So
I
I'm
know, I know.
like feel guilty.
That's a concern for a lot of people. I understand. I understand that. I want to tell all of you when I get ideas, and I do a show every morning now called "Say What Good News" with Bonnie D. That's my other name, and I am on the prowl for interesting articles. Nothing in the chaos and cacophony headlines. Nothing to do with politics or doom and gloom. And I'm always looking. And what I'll do is I'll come across a newsletter that I find very interesting, and I will copy the article into an email to myself, and I will title the subject line of the email for FOR, say what, question mark, exclamation. And that way it goes to the top of my inbox and I have it. So that way I'm not putting it on a sticky note and I'm not putting it in a file or a folder. I'm sending it to myself as take a look at this. And that way I can sort my inbox by where do I have for FOR, say what, and they pop up. And that's
I
something
love that.
I do to send messages to myself. Okay. And
Yeah.
another thing is sometimes I'll make up in my appointment calendar, in my Outlook calendar, I'll put it's time to do such and such for the book or for something, I'm going to write for an hour or I'm going to research this or that. Doug is nodding his head. Yeah. I make appointments I learned that years ago when I was doing some selling, and I learned always fill up your appointment book so people think you're busy. So if you hold, well, this was Mary Kay years ago. When you're holding your appointment, oh, I'm sorry, I can't see you for the next 2 weeks. I've got 15 selling appointments, but I could see you the week after. And you've got, go to hairdresser, buff nails, clean the carrots, 2 potatoes, 4 potatoes, 6 potatoes, practice the piano. And all they see is that you're filled in. I also want to tell you, this is for you, Brad, because you're the fiction writer here. I was recently introduced by a friend who is a fiction writer, a sci-fi and techno writer, that they use a spreadsheet, an actual Excel spreadsheet, and they plot the characters, the names, and they use AI to develop what could that character be named. They describe the character, what would be a good name for, and then they put the names in and they mark for themselves. Yes, I like this. No, I don't. And they use it as a spreadsheet to guide the development of the plot, not to do the writing, but they get name ideas. Brad, does that resonate with you at all?
Yeah. I've used it as a name generator as well. So yeah, sometimes that's the hard part is like, what am I going to name all this stuff? And
Mhm.
I
Absolutely.
got to give a new name for everything. Yeah.
There
So
you go.
yeah.
Okay, I'm going to move on. Doug, thank you for those creativity statements. I appreciate what you shared with us. And Brad has something interesting. Brad, this is popping up on a lot of my shows now. Oh, we don't have that much time left. And Brad says, I create in the shower while walking Brad, you have no
While
idea
you're
how many.
singing?
Yeah, I got my laptop in there.
You
Yeah.
have no idea how many guests have said. And I looked it up, and apparently the water temperature, the fact that there are no distractions, hopefully,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
water temperature is close to body temperature. The noise, the white noise of the water pouring, apparently is a very relaxing thing that lets your brain go and do other thinking. So Brad creates in the shower while he's walking the dog while stuck in traffic. This goes a little bit with traveling and the driving. The physical process of turning that creativity into something happens in the evening after supper. There you go. And here's something we haven't heard of from today yet. You say, I play music that sets the mood for what I'm writing.
Yes.
Let's have that for briefly. As I still think you're the only one here who's who's writing
Yep.
fiction. So, what kind of music? Tell me.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So I have a bunch of different playlists and stuff like that. So if I'm trying to like write something like okay, there's like okay, there's this creepy scene or there's like some kind of like horror elements to it. I have this playlist. There's this band. It's called Nox Arcana. It's like all instrumental, but it's all like gothic kind of instrumental kind of stuff. So I'll just have that playing. As I mentioned, the story that I'm writing now is all so it takes place in a desert. So I have this big playlist, like 10 hours of like desertish kind of music.
Desertish, I like that.
Desertish, yep, exactly. So and sometimes I'll have like different characters will have different energies, and I'll be like, this is a this character playlist, and this is a this other character playlist. Just just different
I
energies.
love it.
So yeah, I do that. I know. Yeah, there you go.
There you
Read into
go.
that what you will.
And in the shower, creative ideas. What do you do
Yeah,
with them? Do
just
you
yeah,
write them on a
I
towel
just
or? Carve him
Sitting
into
there
the
with the water.
soap or
Yeah, just water pouring over me. Like, yeah, this is it's like, what's it's like, this is relaxing. Like, nobody wants me to do it. No deadlines right now. Nobody wants me to do anything. And then the mind starts, like the mind's like, well, what am I going to do now? I got nothing else to do. So it starts to imagine stuff. It's probably the
ah,
same idea when you're stuck in traffic, for Marie and
probably.
Doug, you know.
Mhm.
Well, since we're running out of time, I'm not going to go around the table for this one because I think we've gone into so many places that everybody is creative here. But I want to read you this quote. Rock star David Byrne, who was the frontman for the band Talking Heads, I'm sure some of you have heard of him,
Mhm.
was a guest on a podcast a while ago. It was Stephen Johnson's How Ideas Happen. I was so intrigued with this, Doug and Brad and Maria, that it's a permanent place in my notes here. And he said, sometimes I have just the title of a song that comes to me, and I write it down, and I go to myself, expand on that. I think there's something there. I also have in my computer, a lot of musical ideas, maybe a melody, a nonsense word, a melody waiting for words, but I need something to start with. It's hard to start from nothing. I accumulate these very little beginnings. And when I come back, I've got something to build on. And I think that's what we're all talking about, right? Doug is capturing those notes, those thoughts, Maria and Brad. And then this was a comment in the article. I don't know if this is what David Byrne said. Our minds fizz with fragments of ideas, puzzles to ponder, clues on how to fix a problem. Most of us undervalue that chatter. Writers and artists systematically capture the little beginnings. And he will go back to these notes and he'll say, spend 30 minutes and see what you want to do with that idea. And that's how he was creating songs. I have another quote to read for you. This was from Lucy Maud Montgomery, Canadian author who wrote a novel in 1908. I know none of us were around to appreciate it at the time. Her book is Anne of Green Gables. You may have heard of it.
Mhm.
And chapter 19, I love the title of this chapter. Talk about an alliteration, a concert, a catastrophe, and a confession. Is that a great title or what? That could have been the whole book, right? Okay. And here's what she says. Something just flashes into your mind, so exciting, and you must out with it. If you stop to think it over, you will spoil it all. What do you think of that? Really cool?
Yep.
Everybody?
I
Yeah.
love that.
That's a permanent part of my notes. Here's another one from Rapunzel from the movie Tangled 2010. 3D computer animated musical adventure fantasy comedy film. They strung all of those genres together. And Doug, I've never heard of a movie with 18 genres, but that's what they did. And the line from the movie is venture outside your comfort zone. The rewards are worth it. Hey, you
Yeah.
all, I think that resonates with all of us. And of course, the Rolling Stones said, you can't always get what you want, but if you try, sometimes you'll get what you need. And Glinda in the original Wizard of Oz, and everybody knows this one, said, you had the power all along, my dear. So I have just a couple of minutes left. I just want to give you each one sentence. What's the favorite part about how you become creative, how you are creative, how you capture your ideas, or what do you want? All right, let's change it. What do you want to do next that would be a creative something? Maria, do you want to write a fiction novel? Do you want to write a poem? What do you want to do that would be creativity for you, Maria? Just one sentence, and then Doug, and then Brad. Go ahead. What could be something?
I would write another book to teach how to teach people how to make everybody be inclusive and feel like they belong into the world.
Okay, there you go. Doug, what would you do next that would be your next creative endeavor?
I would teach people how to be grief mentors and make the world a better place to be.
I like that. Brad, what are you up to next?
I don't know yet. I need to learn how to play the guitar.
Well, I have to tell all of you, I belong to an online poetry group at Writer's Digest, and we get a prompt from one of the senior editors every Wednesday morning. Sometimes he does it at 1 in the morning, 3 in the morning. I log in around 6:30 in the morning, and you write and you share your poems online. It's free, and I've written, doing this for about 3 years now. In April and November, we get a prompt every single day. It's called the Poem a Day Challenge. It's not a contest, not a competition. I'm one of 30 or 40 poets who contribute. We do different genres, different formats, everything. I think I'm the class clown because I like the funny poems. But anyway, I think I've written about 900 poems. So my next thing when I finish my novel is probably I'm going to package some of the poems and I'm going to write another book. There we go. I'm going to dedicate to all of you. I got 2 minutes to close here. I wrote an acrostic for this poetry group, July 24th, Wednesday. Okay, this was 2 years ago, almost 2 exact years ago. And the prompt for that day was night shift, NIGHTSHIFT, write a night shift poem. And people were writing serious about jobs and work and factories. I wrote an acrostic, and I'm going to read it to all of you, and I dedicate it to all of you. Here we go. NIGHTSHIFT. Never quite really at rest. It's the life of a creative. Going, gripping, gyrating, growling, groaning, growing, highs and lows flowing on a mental Mobius strip. The days are the nights are the days again, shifting off and on, into and out of gear, hoping for unique brilliance even once. It's a calling, command, curse, roller coaster, finding eureka, euphoria amid frustration, fears. Thus is the life of the creative. And I dedicate that to all of you. I hope you enjoyed that. Brad, you've heard that before, right?
I haven't. No, that's
Oh, you
pretty
haven't?
interesting.
Oh, I've been reading this for a couple of years, and here's a fun one. This one was write a blank like blank poem, so I wrote BLANK, believe in love always, never kiss a leprechaun in a kayak. Every boat's like a nervous kangaroo. There you go. Okay, kids. In 2014, I closed the show. Don't go away. We'll talk. In 2014, I closed the show with the top 10 tips for women. And the number one, Maria, was 10 years before the movie. Aspire to be Barbie. The biatch has everything. I hope nobody was offended by that. And let me do my final closing here. Life is short. Break the rules. Forgive quickly. Doug, you're going to have to teach me how to do that. I still don't forgive quickly. Kiss slowly. That I do very well. Love truly. Yes. Laugh uncontrollably. Everybody laugh with me. 1, 2, 3. That wasn't very good. And never regret anything ever that made you smile. Here we go. Work like you don't need the money. Dance like no one's watching. When I danced and taught disco, they watched. Sing like nobody's listening. I didn't sing today. And love like you've never been hurt. We all have. Let your heart regenerate, regroup, regrow, and learn to love again. Money talks. Chocolate sings. La! I allow myself just that one note there. And last but not least, I stole this line from somebody years ago. Thank you for turning me on. Let's go do our closing here.
Creativity show.
Join me. Come on, let's dance.
Live out.
Dance me out.
Let it flow.
Look at Doug go.
Unscripted words in a velvet ring. Savvy minds on the
Come on, Brad, get those hands up.
Producer and host in the glow.
The glow.
AKA Radio Red. Let's go. Tell me what it is that
Sparks your fire.
What keeps you moving higher and higher? The Creativity Show.
Okay. Thank you all. I appreciate you. Don't go away. We're going to say goodbye to the streaming. Bye, Facebook.